What does your biggest competitor know about their market position that you don't? Not a gut feeling, actual structured intelligence. Their pricing strategy relative to yours, where they're strongest, where they're exposed, and exactly where you can go on the offensive. Most businesses never find out because building that picture the right way takes days. Today I'm showing you Competitor Deep Dive inside TurboAgents, and this tool turns institutional-grade competitive intelligence into a 10-section strategic report in under a minute. Here's the reality of competitive research done properly. You're not just Googling your competitor's name, you're pulling domain authority data, analyzing pricing pages, mapping positioning, building a SWOT, identifying market gaps, and then synthesizing all of it into something actionable enough to actually inform a decision. For even a single competitor, that process takes 1 to 3 hours minimum. For an agency benchmarking a client against 4 rivals, you're looking at a full day's work before a single recommendation has been written. The result is that most competitive analysis either doesn't happen or it happens superficially, from memory, at the start of a strategy call. That's the gap this tool was built to close. The interface is 4 fields. That's the entire input. For this demo, I'm running a real-world scenario. Zoho competing in the CRM and business software market across India, benchmarked against Salesforce, HubSpot, Freshworks, and Microsoft Dynamics. Field 1 is target brand. I'm entering Zoho. Field 2 is industry, CRM, and business software. Field 3 is market, India. And Field 4, which is optional but powerful, is specific competitors. This is where I'm naming the 4 rivals I want the report to benchmark against. The more precise you are here, the sharper the output. Now I hit Analyze Competitors and watch what the tool does next. Unlike tools that just show a spinner, TurboAgents tells you exactly what's happening in real time. It's mining institutional registers, benchmarking market share clusters, auditing competitor messaging, constructing SWOT matrices, identifying tactical vulnerabilities, and generating performance visualizations. The whole thing takes about 45 seconds, and then this lands. The report opens with a header that reads Institutional Competitive Intelligence, CRM and Business Software, stamped with a confidence score of 94.8%, grounded, yes, and a Tier 1 institutional rank. That's not cosmetic. It reflects that the output is search-grounded and structured to the same standard a strategy consultancy would use for a client brief. Section 1 sets the landscape. The Indian CRM market is growing at a CAGR of 18.7% towards $6.68 billion by 2030, driven by SME digitization and a decisive shift to cloud architecture. That's not a vague trend statement. That's a cited, quantified market framing you can drop directly into a pitch deck or a board update. Sections 2 and 3 break the competitor field into direct and indirect rivals. Salesforce is mapped as the undisputed enterprise leader with premium pricing and high deployment complexity. Freshworks is identified as the local SaaS rival indexing higher on UI simplicity and AI-native features. HubSpot is the freemium to premium inbound champion. Microsoft Dynamics dominates legacy enterprise environments. Indirect threats include Pipedrive, Monday Sales CRM, and emerging Indian micro SaaS players targeting hyperlocal businesses. That's a full competitive map, structured and ready. The pricing strategy section is where the report gets surgical. Zoho's enterprise license cost increased just 14.3% over the last decade. Salesforce executed a 40% price hike. HubSpot raised its enterprise tier by 25% in a single year. Those 3 numbers side by side are Zoho's most powerful commercial argument, and TurboAgents surfaces them with source citations attached. Section 8 is the SWOT. Strengths, unmatched cost-to-value ratio, a unified first-party data ecosystem, and 60% R&D reinvestment against a 17% industry average. Weaknesses, brand perception capped at SMB only in some segments, and UI friction across legacy modules. Opportunities, India's accelerating SME digitization and mobile-first CRM demand. Threats, AI-native CRM startups and Salesforce's aggressive down-market discounting to capture Indian unicorns before they scale. This isn't a generic framework. Every entry is specific to the market and grounded in the research. At the bottom of the report, 3 to 5 live citations. Every source is clickable. Every claim is traceable. Switch to the Dashboard tab and the data becomes visual. 6 charts, all generated from the same run. The market share velocity chart shows Salesforce at 35%, HubSpot at 25%, and Zoho at 15%, with the remaining market fragmented. The brand sentiment score tells a different story. Zoho leads at 88, ahead of Salesforce at 82, and HubSpot at 75. High share doesn't always mean high affinity, and that gap is strategic signal. The customer retention rate chart confirms it. Zoho holds 72% annual retention, the highest of any player in this audit. Salesforce is at 65%, HubSpot at 58%. The Pricing Strategy Index visualizes the full spectrum, with Zoho sitting at 70, positioned between the premium leaders and value players in the commercially strongest territory. And the Digital Growth Trajectory charts category growth from 4.5% in 2022 to a forecast of 8.2% in 2024. The market is accelerating, not plateauing. All 6 charts are synthesized from search-grounded institutional data, and the node summary cards below them distill the report's sharpest takeaways into 4 portable intelligence blocks. The third tab is where this tool separates itself from every static report generator. Chat with Analyst drops you into a live conversation with a senior competitive intelligence analyst persona, grounded in the full report data. I asked 2 questions directly. First, how exposed is Zoho to Freshworks in the Indian SME segment over the next 12 months? The analyst rated exposure as moderate to high, specifically within agile-first businesses. The primary displacement risk isn't price, it's UI and AI-led speed to value. Freshworks is capturing the AI-native narrative for SMEs who want conversational, zero-setup interfaces. The analyst then surfaced Zoho's defensive moat, the Zoho One Flat Fee Bundle, structural switching costs from horizontal suite depth, and that 60% R&D reinvestment rate. The strategic recommendation was precise. Zoho must modernize its legacy UI modules and double down on ZIA's predictive capabilities before the frictionless modern interface becomes a procurement objection. Second question. Where is Salesforce structurally weakest in the Indian mid-market? The analyst identified 3 exploitable gaps. The pricing cliff. Salesforce's 40% hike versus Zoho's decade of stability creates renewal shock in mid-market accounts. The administrative overhead burden. Mid-market Indian firms often can't sustain a full-time Salesforce administrator or pay for global system integrators. And the CRM silo problem, the cost of connecting Salesforce to finance, HR, and operations often exceeds the license cost itself. The analyst's recommendation was to market directly to Indian CFOs on pricing stability and to CTOs on reducing administrative debt. That's a 2-pronged go-to-market argument, built from the data, delivered in a chat response. The analyst draws on search-grounding logic for questions outside the report scope as well, so you can keep interrogating the competitive landscape for as long as the brief requires. 1 click on Export Report. The Word document comes through fully formatted. Navy header banner, executive overview with a left border pull quote, all 10 sections with proper headings, market intelligence data indices, and a full sources and research index at the close. It's client ready the moment it hits your downloads folder. Let's talk about what this replaces. A proper single competitor audit takes 1 to 3 hours manually. 4 competitors like this run is a full day. At a billing rate of $100 an hour, that's $400 to $800 in time, per client, per brief cycle. TurboAgents does it in under a minute. But more than the time saving, think about the quality floor this sets. Every report comes in at the same institutional standard. No analyst fatigue, no missed sources, no SWOT section filled in from memory. You get the same depth whether it's your first audit of the day or your 15th. Competitor Deep Dive is live now inside TurboAgents. Think about the one competitor you've been meaning to properly analyze for months. In under a minute, you'll have a 10-section institutional report, a full visual dashboard, and a live analyst you can interrogate on the findings. Try it today. Link in the description. And if this walkthrough was useful, subscribe.